What makes a character great? The look, the style, and the charm are important features, but why they do act in a certain way? How to write a strong female character without ending in the Mary Sue trap? The secret is a simple word: backstory. So instead of talking about backstory in theory, I want to show you how I actually do it with a real character from my series Legends of the West. This is Sally McKay. She is my heroine. She is elegant, skilled, and confident, but she didn't become that way by accident. Everything about who she is comes from one decision made before she was even born. Sally's grandfather lost his sister to violence back in Ireland. Now, I'm not gonna explain the details, you gotta read Legends of the West. However, just to do a little summary, Jack McKay, Sally's grandfather, lost his adored sister back in Ireland due to a tragic violence. Let's say that. And he's warned that if he ever had a daughter, he will raise her strong, powerful, able to defend herself, and never be weak. And he never had daughters, he only had sons. So you can imagine when Sally was born, he was so thrilled and he decided to raise her like he always wanted to do for his own daughter. So he trained her to use weapons and educated in the same way that her brothers were educated. As you know, back in that time, women and men had a different type of education. Men were able to go into college or pursue a career, while women were not allowed to enter colleges or university, and their education was very basic, and mostly if they were upper class or high society, they were supposed to be trained like a lady to get a good marriage, enter into society, and so on. So Sally was pretty advanced for the time. She is more like a modern girl from nowadays rather than that back in that time. Well, still, obviously, she's from 1849, so she still have that characteristic. However, she's completely different from the type of girls of her age at that time. So Sally McKay is strong, skilled, educated, beautiful, wealthy. However, she's not flawless. She has a lot of, let's say, imperfections. Her imperfections make her human and relatable. I created my main female character in this way, not because the story needs her to be perfect, but because her family believed, especially her grandfather, that survival is required. So he trained her just like a son because he wanted her to survive and not to succumb in tragedy and violence like his sister did. And this is where I want to talk about something you see a lot in modern movies and show, the Mary Sue problem. So for people that is not well aware what is a Mary Sue character, isn't just a strong character. It's a character who is instantly great at everything, never really struggle, and the world bends to make them right all the time. Sally is the all opposite. She's skilled, but she earned it. She's confident, but that comes from over preparation, not because she's perfect. And like I said, she's not flawless. She's stubborn, she's arrogant, she always thinks that somehow she knows the answer to everything and she thinks she knows it all, which is not. She thinks she can do things without asking for help because she's carrying all this weight on her shoulder, and later on during the story she will show it, and uh, she could have asked for help maybe to her older brother, and she didn't because she thought she has to solve the problem by herself. So that's why Sally McKay is not a Mary Sue character. Sure, she is strong, courageous, beautiful. However, her strength doesn't come without flaws. And she is the opposite of perfection. And this is what makes her human and relatable. And this is very important when you create a character that is the hero or is a heroine or is antagonist, sidekick, wherever it is in the story. It's very important to create characters that have flaws. They have to have imperfection because that's how you humanize your characters in a story. Quick break. This is very important. If you want to read Legends of the West, you can go on my website, one.comics.com, where I post chapters with every page that I've been working on constantly. I keep updating and posting new things. Also, you can even check my blog where I write articles about the comic book industry, art supply, and storytelling. I posted some old artwork, and you can even check my YouTube videos. Don't forget, one.comics.com. So I want to underline that create a strong female character doesn't mean that she is perfect. Unfortunately, we see it more often nowadays in movies, especially Hollywood blockbuster movies that create these kind of characters that are, especially the females, that are good and everything. Everybody around them is basically a moron, doesn't know what they are doing, and she comes all the time to save the situation so easily with no effort, and she never fails. Unfortunately, this is not reality, and you want to create a character that reflects reality as much as possible. So stay away from Mary Sue characters. Do the opposite Hollywood is doing, and probably you have a better story. So let's coming back to the backstory. A real backstory doesn't just explain who a character is; it controls what they do. Sally's past doesn't sit in the background, it drives her decision in the story. Her backstory makes her character, makes who she is. Because Sally was raised to never be powerless, to be able to defend herself, she refused to wait for someone else to act. When there is danger, she's doesn't step down. Actually, she steps forward. When there is injustice or unfairness, even if it's mild, she challenges it, because that's what she's been taught since she was a child. And so even when someone underestimates her, she cannot take it personally. And you will see, even in her personal relationships, she might try to be too much, kind of not bossy. She's not that, but sometimes she makes decision without thinking about the other person, because she thinks she's doing the right thing for the other person too. So she means well, but she makes a mistake without even know that she's wrong, and then after she will realize that. So it's very important to create a background story for a character, to make the character act into the story and create the story himself. So all of this, how Sally is, it might sound heroic, which she is very brave and courageous. But there is a problem. Sally doesn't always stop to ask if she should act. She only asks if she can. And so her strength creates conflict. So she jumps into situations that sometimes she's not ready for. And in Legends of the West, that leads to real consequences, because it's the frontier, is the Wild West, where lawless basically reign, and she's aware of that. But her self-confidence can be not only a virtue, but also kind of put her in danger, and even her friends. So it's very important to create these types of background stories that lead the characters into the story, that make the story, create the story for them, and a character whose past forces them to act, and whose actions make the story messy. That's what creates an interesting character, an interesting story, and make the audience, the viewer or the reader, enjoy the story. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, if you want to read Legends of the West, my graphic novel, you're welcome to do it on my website, one.comics.com. I'll leave the link right below in my description. And you're welcome, if you like this video, maybe you want to check this other video up here or up here, whatever it is. And please don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Otherwise, Finn is gonna get really, really sad. Do you want to make Finnegan sad? I don't think so. Yeah. Say subscribe. No. Kisses. Alright, well, thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video.